When I was younger, I used to take on a lot of babysitting jobs. At 14 years old, I became the regular babysitter for an 8-year-old girl down the block. One afternoon, we found a small tree frog in her backyard, and naturally, I decided to take him home. After begging my parents to let me keep him, they finally agreed, and Trevor became the newest addition to our family. We first got him a terrarium, and the next order of business was determining what in the world you feed a tree frog. Live crickets, according to the man at the pet store. My mom wasn't too keen on the idea, but what had to be done had to be done. We bought a huge box of live crickets, and the drive home was already pretty painful. We fed Trevor several crickets throughout the day, and I watched him happily eat them in just a matter of minutes. When we returned to feed him the following day, all of the remaining crickets in the box had died. We went back to the store, and the man there told us we'd have to buy the crickets in smaller portions, otherwise they'd die out too quickly. My mom, of course, thought that was ridiculous. We weren't going to go back to the pet store every afternoon for a fresh batch of live crickets. So the man told us we could still buy them in bulk, but then we would have to feed the crickets. We would have to feed them this little packet of cricket food twice daily. So now we're buying food packets to feed the crickets to feed the frog. But not only that, you can't feed the crickets regular water. Instead, you've got to get these little water jellies, because if the crickets try to drink water in normal liquid form, they'll drown. So now we're buying these little jelly balls to give to the crickets, and food to feed the crickets to feed the frog that I had found while babysitting. Fast forward a couple of weeks. Everything's gone pretty smoothly thus far, and it's time for me to head off to camp. My week-long sleepaway camp was to be held up in New York, and my mom would spend the week there too, visiting family in the meantime. This meant my dad was left to tend to the house, my younger sister, and the frog. Halfway through the week, my mom called home. The conversation went something like this.
Hi, honey, how's everything? Liana doing well?
Yes, all is great. Took her to tennis today.
How about the cats?
Great, all is great.
The frog?
My dad raced into my bedroom, only to find Trevor the frog as dead as he could be. Now, just to give you an idea, I was the type of child who would develop an emotional attachment to absolutely everything, animate or inanimate. If I didn't play with a stuffed animal for several months, my mom would put it away in the attic, and if I still didn't ask for it for 3 more months, only then could she finally give it away. Now, this was a real animal. My dad knew I would never forgive him. After much panic, my mom instructed him to go back to the pet store and find an identical replacement frog. Horrified I'd be able to detect the difference, my father went to 3 different pet stores before finally finding a reptile that looked like the original. I returned from camp, and all went back to normal. My parents sighed a huge sigh of relief. I hadn't the slightest idea that this new frog was not the same Trevor I had left home when I went to camp. A day later, I decided to take the frog out for some fresh air. I put him down to give him a little space, and before I could reach down again, he hopped away. Forever. Sad, but knowing that it was of his own will, I passively waved goodbye to my little friend.